Hello.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm pretty great. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Thank you for asking.
Good.
All right. So I have a lot of questions about genre stuff for you
Okay.
because I find it so fascinating,
Okay.
especially
Awesome.
because you started out on kids shows and
Mhm.
doing a lot of stuff for young people because surprise, you were young.
Yeah.
How was it making that transition from that kind of a world into thrillers and horror genre stuff? Because you do a lot of them now and you're good at them.
Thank you. The transition was actually quite smooth. I had done some acting before I was on the Disney show, which was not very kid friendly, actually, funnily enough. And then when I was 13 or 12, I got the show, which had been like a total dream of mine since I was a little kid, coming all the way from Florida. So it was like a huge accomplishment. But then 3 years went by, and that was the end of the show. And I had other aspirations I wanted to go after. And it kind of just happened. I just worked hard. I don't know. I just got auditions and I wanted them. So I did my best at them and ended up getting some roles. And I guess that's kind of what got the ball rolling and kind of putting me into a different genre, different part of the industry. And that also just happens with age, I was in my late teens then. Not late teens, I was like 16 or 17. And yeah, it was just time for something new. And I've been trying other things ever since.
And do you like genre programming yourself, TV shows and movies, or do you watch other things whenever you get a chance?
I watch a lot of other things. I do love thriller horror stuff, but I'm kind of sensitive to some of it. Like it totally creeps me out, it's a totally different experience making these kind of things as opposed to watching them. I do love horror stuff, but I don't know. I don't really watch them too often because I get kind of nightmares from watching paranormal.
No.
I really do. It kind of creeps me out a little bit. I do love more like thrillery type things but when it comes to like haunting stuff, I kind of stay away from it. But I tend to still make those movies sometimes funny, but
I was wondering, does it change the way you view them because you're in them? But if you're still afraid to watch things and it still reaches you, then maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know if it's changed the way I've seen them, but I don't know. I guess it's just the content of them. Sometimes it's just creepy, and it's kind of the unknown, And that might be why it's so creepy, is because some of that stuff we really really don't know about. But I mean, like I don't know, zombie movies, like stuff like that. That's a bit more. I don't know. Some of it's a bit more fun to watch and exciting, as opposed to like there being ghosts in your house and then you're home alone at night. Like here's the thing.
So where does Girl in the Woods fit in that scheme?
In the
Scary ghostesses or zombie-ish? How do you view it on the scare scale?
it's really such an adventure, this show. It has a lot of creepy elements to it. There's a lot of monster, demon, entity type things that you kind of discover when you're watching the show. But even though it does have those creepy aspects, which Jacob Chase, who is our second director, the last 4 episodes, he has a really great background in horror, and he brought some amazing elements to the show, like practically doing some really cool scares and stuff. So it totally has that. But at the same time, there's so many fight sequences. Like Carrie gets trained from birth to fight and kill, and that's all she knows. And that's kind of her way of getting love, is through that, and through how like betrayal is honor in a way. That's in her headspace. So it also has this whole other element of thriller, fighting, adventure kind of thing. The adventure comes when she comes into the new world and meets Tasha and Nolan, and there's a lot of elements actually, because there's this whole like, yeah, there's a few different worlds simultaneously taking place. So it's kind of hard to explain until you see it and without giving anything away. But it definitely has a lot of different elements and some pretty quirky humor in it as well, which I really appreciated.
What part did you like filming the most? Did you like playing the friendship? Do you like the fight scenes, and did you do your own fight scenes?
Yeah, that was my favorite part, all of the fight scenes, because I got to train for it and then learn all of the fight sequences. And we got to do it all ourselves. We definitely had stunt doubles there, and we learned from them and worked with them most of the time. Like, she was kind of like teaching me everything. But we did get to do all of our own fight sequences, which was super cool. Like, what a great experience. Getting to fight with Kylie Leah, who plays Sarah. We kind of were just like all in, like, hey, I'm all in if you're all in. Let's just kind of go for it and make it as rough and crazy as possible. We didn't really care if we like pulled each other a little too hard. We just wanted to make it look really good.
Nice. What was the cast like? It's a pretty good cast.
Yeah, it's a really great cast. We have Sophia and Nisha, who play Tasha and Nolan. We had a great time together on the show. We had a lot of really fun scenes together because they get to kind of take Carrie into their real world. And so that was actually really fun to play with them. And then they actually have really cool storylines on their own as well when you go into the last 4 episodes, which I won't give away. I'll let them talk about. But one of my favorite people to work with was William Lee. He plays Carrie's teacher in the show, and he's almost like a father to her. And so they've got a pretty epic storyline. I can't really say much about it because there's a really big reveal in it, but that was surprisingly, actually, I think my favorite part. He's in real life, he's like a martial artist and he's incredible. So I got to do fight sequences with him and stuff too, which was pretty cool. It was a little intimidating, honestly, because he's like really intense, but it was cool.
Yeah, I met him for something that he did on Sci-Fi once, I think, Falling Water, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's pretty cool guy. I enjoyed your 2 scenes. I enjoyed your scenes together, the 2 of you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
I've seen 5 of the episodes, so.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and what's funny is I was going to ask you, how would you describe this to people, potentially, who want to watch? It's so hard to describe, what you've said yourself.
I know.
What's the pitch?
That's the question I keep trying to find the right answer to, because as we were even filming this show, I was like, every week we were in a different, basically, location, a different world, whether that was in the woods or in Gehenna or in the colony or in the real world. Like, those 4 areas, each time we were in one of those locations, it felt like we were filming an entirely different movie or something. So it's so hard to explain. I'd say it's like a supernatural thriller adventure with a lot of really interesting comedy elements, and it also touches on a lot of really cool present like issues or topics, I would say, environmental, LGBTQ plus, in really like genuine yet quirky ways. Yeah. There's a really great scene between Misha and I, which I won't give away, again, I like alluding to it, but a scene like that, it was just a very gentle scene. Wasn't overdone or underdone. It was just pretty genuine, in my opinion, and I think that's because they worked a lot with the head writer, Casey, on like just really fine-tuning it and making it as I don't know, I guess, honest for them as possible.
It's a lot more character driven than you would imagine for all of the adventure and action that goes on.
It really is. And that's something that I was super drawn to about it, is how character driven it is. And I think that's why it's cool that Kristen Ritter, she directed the first 4 episodes, is she really kept that in mind, was setting it up with how character driven it is, and kind of like totally grounded all the relationships. So when Jacob came in, he kind of brought in all this like super creepy gore stuff and intense fight sequences. Like then by then she really set it up in a really good place to make, I think, all of that horror stuff really mean something in it.
So what was she like as a director? I know it's her 2nd time, I believe, directing, right?
Yeah, I think so. I know she directed an episode of Jessica Jones, and I'm pretty sure this is the 2nd thing she directed. She was fantastic. I think because she's an actress and she knows how it goes, she was super present with me, and like also super prepared. We weren't really like waiting around ever for her. She always had everything already set up for us when we got there, every take ready to go. Like she knew exactly what it was going to look like and how she wanted it to be. And that's something I really appreciated. Yeah, she's great.
And can you just kind of describe just quickly what Carrie is about? Like who she is and what she's about without giving anything away. It's just,
yeah. I'll try. Carrie Ecker, she's, well, she's been trained since birth to fight and kill at this colony. But her as a person, I'd say she kind of comes from this world that's very serious and everything's pretty life or death, which makes her very loyal. But she goes into the real world and I think she discovers how intense all of that is and kind of sees how light life can be. And then she kind of takes on Tasha and Nolan's sense of humor. I think she's really inspired by that. And then, yeah, you kind of see in the show how she's a very loyal person and she'll do anything for anybody she loves or to try to fix something and make it right, even if she kind of really messes things up.
Which happens.
Yeah, it happens quite a lot.
So you've been a girl in a basement and now a girl in the woods.
I know, it's kind of
what
funny.
other girl are you going to be?
I know, that's kind of the running joke now in my family. They're like, oh, great, what are you going to do now? Like, girl in the attic, girl in the plane, I don't know.
If you could pick one of those, if you could pick your own girl in the
cheesy musical, and I would be in a cheesy musical.
Oh, that's fun. That would be completely different too.
Yeah, it's super different. Take a quick break from all the blood and do something like, I don't know, super cheesy and awesome with full of dance numbers and stuff.
Maybe that can go into the second season.
Hey,
whenever you guys are hanging out, it can
it's a good
be
idea. We can
singing
totally
and
have a
dancing.
musical episode. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for talking with me today, Stefanie. I really appreciate it. And I hope everybody loves it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It was nice talking to you.
You too. Bye-bye.